Oh my goodness. Oh my god, we're live.
Hello.
Hello. Greetings from Planet Live Stream. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, it's super fancy this week. All right, let's get going. Hello and welcome to that chair creaking in the background. Really threw me off. That would be Alan's chair, isn't it?
Well, it's not mine because I'm standing. So,
are you standing? Are you going to stand for the whole show?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. You're a very fine, upstanding citizen.
It's very ergonomic of you.
Oh, yeah. That's the other reason.
All right, cool. Hello, and welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. We're bringing you Transformers news from around the world and a bit of Australian flavour as usual this week with some things. This is episode 204. We're recording live on Friday, 15th of November, 2019. This week, we'll be talking about Earthrise, and Earthrise, and a few statue stories at the end. Lol, JK. Brad put that into the run sheet, and I'm just saying it because it's there. We're not talking about statues. All that and more is coming up after this. I have to figure out how to actually play the music in the StreamYard recording so that it's a bit more authentic. But yeah. All right. Ready, set, cut to intro. Wait, no, we've done that. All right. Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Jason. Joining me this week, we have Alan coming to us from Melbourne. How are you doing, Alan?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I believe your city has been 100 fire this week than mine. Quite cold down there this week, hasn't
it? It's not too bad, actually. Yeah, sorry to brag.
Yeah, it's fine.
But it is Melbourne. It is Melbourne.
So I've locked myself in a room to do the stream, and I really can't wait to actually open up the door and get out because it is hot in Sydney tonight. Canberra, is it cold / in between? I know Canberra gets really freaking cold.
Oh, it's hot at the moment, but, well, at least we're not on fire, so kind of grading on a curve, really.
Fingers crossed we remain not on fire. Although, I've installed the fires around. Sending notifications that are just like, oh, you should get prepared just in case fire comes for you this weekend. Use this weekend to get prepared. Get ready. Fire danger is now building. I was like, I installed the app to get notifications of fires when I should evacuate.
I've got too many collectibles. I can't leave them.
Look, I'm not going to lie. That was actually a moderate concern this week. So I was just thinking, holy shit, what if something actually happens? Because Sydney had a catastrophic fire danger rating this week for I think the first time ever, and I did think, my apartment block is actually close to a golf course and parkland and near to Centennial Park. And like, if a fire actually starts somewhere in like parkland nearby, might it spread to my apartment? And holy shit, I don't know if I actually have insurance on all of this stuff sitting in the room behind me. So I probably need to have a bit of a think about that.
Yeah, I've got one burning convoy. I don't need more.
Bo.
Yeah, very nice. All right. That's look. What have the rest of you been up to this week? Sorry, I've been talking about fire danger and burning stuff. What's been happening down in Melbourne, down in Canberra? Tell me.
I've been having a fiddle with my new in my acquisitions, doing some customizing just in my spare time there, and I also went to a tournament for the opening of the new card game, Siege 2. The trading card game, and got some promos.
Did you win?
That was good. I didn't win, but I got the promo, so that's all good.
Sweet.
Alan, why did we send you if you didn't win? I mean, like, who did you lose to?
I don't want to name names.
Okay.
It was one of those sealed events, so you just play with what you get, and it's all about having fun, really. So, yeah, you're going guns blazing with your own cards next week.
So hang on. So you said it's a sealed event. That means that they give you cards when you attend the event and you play with those. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, everyone had never touched any of the new cards before. It's a fresh box of the new series, and you all get like 6 packs, and you make up a deck of characters based on what you get, and you just play with that. And yeah, it's a way of trying out the new cards and characters, and just having a bit of fun.
Exciting. How about yourself, Daria? What's been happening this week? Actually, it has been a few weeks since you've been on. So, like, what's been happening this month?
Well, I've started work on yet another new podcast.
Excellent. I like to collect podcasts personally, but yeah.
This one not released yet. You'll get to know when it is. Called Not So Giant Women, which is a Steven Universe podcast.
Oh, fantastic! I'm not a Steven Universe watcher myself, but I know I probably should be. So yeah.
Well, I wasn't, which is part of how I got on this, because the other lady on it, she has been a big dyed-in-the-wool fan since forever, and so we want to do that veteran and virgin model of a watch through.
So I've decided in recent weeks that my memory is not so good, and I keep getting recommended things that I need to watch. So I now have a Google Keep note for things to watch. It is worryingly getting longer rather than shorter, and Steven Universe is going on it. And because I apparently said Google, my phone is now transcribing everything that I say. Stop that. Great. Yeah. So, all right. Let's kick things off a little bit. I've added Steven Universe to my watch list, and we're going to talk about some Transformers news, which means bringing in the news screen share. There we go. Look at that. Let's see how things animate and stuff on the podcast these days. We're going to open up the news with a couple of local sightings for some things that I think they might not necessarily be world firsts, but they're damn close. We had a couple of interesting sightings come around this week. Number one, Michael Fouché from the Facebook discussion group, sudden appearance of Wave 4 bots. He had found them. I think he said that they were in Big W, and he was quite impressed with himself because he said he walked in looking for the orange Wave 3 packets and didn't see them, and then actually managed to notice the blue Wave 4. Because if you're looking for orange, you're not going to see the blues. Wave 4 does have the Chase figures in it. Some of them gold colored. I believe there's seven gold figures in the tribe, and he managed to acquire 2 from his random blind pack selections. I'm not actually sure how random they were, but Michael also does make mention of the fact that he has a Transformer. So there are two notable Transformers out of this haul, although I think they're all notable, really. There were 2 notable Transformers. One is, if you can see where my mouse is going, oh, well, that's gone. Well, let's do that. This one is a Transformer that turns into a whoopee cushion.
I see that, yep.
I know, right? This one, the top hat, guess what it turns into? It turns into a rabbit.
Oh,
I know.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I know, it's so cool. Bots are great, and yeah. So the bad news for this is that the single packs are here. The multi packs, the skill tester and the gumball machine, they're nowhere to be seen, and you're going to need to buy a lot of those if you want the rest of the gold figures, apparently. So,
is that one at the top a pinata?
One on the yes, I believe it is. Yeah,
cool.
It is. It is a pinata, and then there's one that's a KitchenAid there as well.
I've got the gold Chase KitchenAid.
Yeah, so there's the blender, but then the KitchenAid, like the food mixer, is just the one in the middle, the aqua colored one. There's they're pretty neat. There's look, I mean, like most BotBot series, like there's a shit ton of recolors in it, but still. But look at the top hat. Look how the top hat is transformed as well. Like, that's great. Yeah, very, very, very happy with that. Look, I'm actually just really happy to see that Hasbro is someone at Hasbro is having a lot of fun with these designs. Yeah. It is fantastic, and they're simple little figures, but yeah, they're so emotive. They've got great little facial expressions, and they're not Autobots or Decepticons either. So like there are Transformers entries, well, there are entries in the Transformers line that they're not even at war. The BotBots gold, the gold championship BotBots are for the BotBots that cause the most mischief.
I'm surprised
A
they
Formula-
haven't got, like a little 5-minute Flash cartoon or something.
I'm quite surprised that there's not much by way of supporting media as well, and I almost feel like Hasbro's sort of been caught with their pants down on that. I don't think they thought that they'd be as successful as they are, but also they have got 4 waves of these things. There's something like 120 BotBots out there. Like it's the most prolific Transformers series ever, including MicroMasters.
They could get the people who did like the Lego stop motion to do something.
That'd be fun.
Do you mean the Lego movie?
Yeah, but before the Lego movie, there was a whole lot of
yes.
fan-made.
So I think they were actually made by Traveller's Tales. They're the guys who, if you go back far enough, like I think they made a bunch of Amiga games back in the 90s. I think they originally held the Lego game license as well, or something like that. But yeah, and I've seen some of those. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to get. I think it'd be interesting to get the guys who do the Transformers Earth Wars to do an animation or something for BotBots, because the Earth Wars animations are actually really, really well done. And they're quite fun, and they have that sort of cheeky, playful spirit to them as well. So yes, anyway, BotBots Series 4 hitting Australian shelves. If you're a Big W, I desperately need to go find a Big W that is open somewhere near me, because apparently the Cyberverse, what are they called? The Scraplets are available at Big W now. So I need to go and buy me a Scraplet or 2. We'll see how we go.
How much are BotBots down here?
The blind packs are $5. And if you can get them on a sale where there's like 20% off Transformers or something, is better. But look, bear in mind we are going towards Christmas, so there will be toy sales coming up. But these things are not that well distributed anyway. We haven't seen the Series 3 single packs. We've only seen the multi packs and the arcade set for that.
I could see the top hat showing up on some funny photos.
Oh, there's so many options for BotBot photos. Like there really are. All right, let's move on. The BotBots are not the most momentous sighting in Australia this week. That goes to this fellow. Which, if I can zoom in on him, there we go. That is a Siege Astro Train right there, just spotted casually hanging out on the shelf at Casey's Toys. Alongside with more refractors that you can poke a stick at, and for some reason a last night remote control Autobot Squeaks over on the right, which the less said about that the better, I think. So it's worth remembering Astrotrain is a leader class figure, so he does weigh in at an impressive $90 RRP, but the fact that it's on the shelves, the fact that it's on the shelves at Casey's Toys is a good sign for it making its way to retailers soon. And like I said, Christmas sales are coming up.
He's very nice looking.
He's pretty nice looking. He's look. I think most of them are not $90 nice looking. I'd prefer to be around 70.
I think if he was larger scale, maybe.
Larger. He's already. Well, I guess the new leader is a Voyager with armor. So yeah, fair enough too. There's another notable Voyager down there as well, which is Thundercracker, he's somewhat plentiful, but not quite everywhere just yet. I'm actually quite fond of my Thundercracker. He's a nice looking figure. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to some actual news. Earthrise is phase 2 of the War for Cybertron trilogy. It is apparently set in space, according to Hasbro. It's a little bit strange because they have shown of Earth-based modes, and then they've gone, Earthrise is set in space as the Autobots try to find a new home. It's like, no, it's not. But so we are getting a brand new Optimus Prime leader class figure. Yeah, no, I know, right? Like then it's not called on Earth either. Like I mean, like for the Earth to rise, you would need to be in space.
Oh, good point.
But there
Good
you
point.
go. Yeah.
Now with blue hands.
I mean, like maybe it's set on the moon. Yes. So getting back to the picture on screen, so we do have some photographs of the leader class Optimus Prime. He is looking pretty amazing. Very, very, very G1 oriented. There's a few like shiny paint applications and windows on it, and as Alan pointed out, he now has blue hands. Now, that's an interesting change because when we saw this figure. When we saw this figure in prototype at New York Comic Con, he had grey hands and did cause a few questions from the fan base as to why Hasbro gave Prime grey hands. And at the time, the Hasbro reps all went, yep, no, it's meant to be that way. This Prime has grey hands. Turns out, nope.
Yeah.
Turns out, no, he actually has blue hands. Now,
this goes back to what I was saying the other week, though, that they've got this challenge of trying to make G1 Optimus is different, but in a very strict window. If you've got fandom going nuts over the fact that even the color of his hands are different, they don't have much room to move in making new toys.
No, they really don't. But you know what has since been pointed out to me, and I will just bring it up now. What is everyone's favorite Optimus Prime figure at the moment that's not called MP44? It is, if I'm just going to make myself the focus of this for a minute. It is this fellow, Studio Series 38 Optimus Prime. And check out the color of his hands. Oh, they're black hands.
For those, yeah, can you hear that at home? His hands are black. They sound different from the blue ones.
Mm.
They do. Wait, I'll hold them up to the microphone so you can hear the difference. Yeah. So Studio Series 38, while everyone's freaking out about the color of while everyone's freaking out about the color of Siege Earthrise Prime's hands. Yeah, no, I know it's black hands. So fair enough. And we all have that figure. I know. So yeah.
Earthrise Prime looks very squared off. Very
in the blue.
Alan, what was that?
Yeah, he's froze.
No, I think we've lost Alan. There we go.
It would try a little bit more.
Alan's sounding a little bit like a Dalek at the moment.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, you're back.
You're
back. What were you saying?
Me? I was saying that
we didn't hear anything you just said.
Should have made the Cybertron version a little bit more Cybertron-esque, whereas the Earth one G1-esque, just to differentiate them a little bit more.
This is true. I mean, look, we've been confused a little bit by some, I guess, previews of Earth modes in the Siege line, which is apparently set on Cybertron. But also, it's worth remembering that apparently Earthrise is set in space. So why would anyone have an Earth mode anyway?
He seems to have a truck mode in every mode that looks like an Earth truck from the look of it. This is where I like the sort of the War for Cybertron looks a bit different.
Well, so look, we have a photograph on screen that is showing the leader class figure versus the cell shaded Siege figure, and there's not much in it. Like, he's not actually that much bigger because, of course, we know that leaders are Voyagers with armor, but he does look like a little bit different, I guess. He does look a little bit more G1 like. Yeah, like there's less kibble hanging on his arms. There's less kibble around the back as well. So, it's definitely I say this now. It's probably going to come back to bite me.
Oh,
it's
I like
definitely
that
looking like a different figure. Yeah, you can stow the gun at the back. The gun folds up, which I'm not sure I'm in love with, but it is what it is. And he's got arse wheels halfway up his back as well. Either that or he's actually got Wally looking out of his back.
But this is a very nice squared off design. He's very geometrically satisfying.
He is, isn't he? Like the truck mode is right there, and he can definitely hold a matrix, which I don't know if the matrix is included. That's the photo that we're looking at the moment. Otherwise, he looks so similar to the Siege one that I'd almost be tempted to call him like a retool, but there are some fairly big differences, and I just don't know. Oh, look, he does actually have a matrix. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they've improved upon him.
Definitely.
Definitely. Look, this Optimus does have sexy thighs as well.
Thick.
Thick thighs. Now you have to remember, according to the schematics for Masterpiece Megatron, thighs must be seductive. So that's Earthrise Optimus Prime. We're getting our first look at him. Okay, and we're going to go on. We've got more Earthrise figures to look at as well. We're looking at Voyager class Grapple here, and he is a big orange truck. Now we have seen pictures of Grapple before, and I think we've pronounced him sort of looking like a little bit of a mini masterpiece. And I think looking at this photo, I think he's looking a little bit less masterpiece like now, but still, like, it's the stock photo. It's taken under like insanely brightly lit conditions, and it does make the figures look a little bit more artificial than they otherwise would. But he's looking impressive in terms of articulation. I think most of the swivels on the arms and the legs, they're kind of table stakes for Transformers figures in 2019 and in 2018. I think with Siege, because we started getting regular ankle tilts on figures in Siege, and yeah, look, he looks like he'll be a solid addition to the lineup. Grapple, and obviously he'll be repainted into Inferno. Grapple and Inferno are some of the fan favorite figures, so like I'm expecting to see some good things out of this. What do you guys think?
I wouldn't mind updating a Inferno and getting a Grapple. So I agree that I think, yeah, you can even see a difference in the box there that some of the harsh light is not doing good to his orange.
That's right. He does look much better in the box shot, doesn't he?
Yes. Yeah. I think the articulation, and you can see the main truck looks quite very nice. Paint it. I think it's paint versus plastic.
I don't know. Like the truck cab looks like it's painted, but I think the rest of him might just be orange plastic.
That's what I think too. Just looking from here.
Yeah, I think if you look at in the box shot as well, like I think it's pretty obvious that the frontmost part of him seems to be painted. But yeah. Oh, and then there's this dude. So we are taking a bit of a look. We're off Grapple and we are on to Starscream now. Starscream, we have seen before, is returning in something that's much, much more akin to his G1 F-15 mode. There's debate as to whether or not this is actually just a retool of the Siege figure or not. There's a lot of similarities, but there's also a couple of differences. Like there's a lot less stuff going on in his sides. Like he looks a little bit hollow under the arms there, and like it's a little bit hard to say whether or not this is sort of an upgrade on the Generations Deluxe figure, or if it's a retool of the Siege Voyager. We're gonna have to find out. Hopefully, we'll find out in the next month or two.
Maybe they keep some of the cosmetic tooling.
Maybe I feel like they've like I'm on the retool side. Like I think they don't make a Voyager Seeker mold and use it 3 times. I think they make a Voyager Seeker mold. They know that they can make modifications to it to make it in an Earth mode, and like that's a really nice looking Earth mode. But again, like the Siege figure, he's got this massive undercarriage of robot stuff. But again, like that's just sort of how planeformers work these days, and I feel like because they don't have the bulk of the Tetrajet on there, like they've been able to make a couple of changes to his engineering, but I don't think they're going to change that much. And so, like, I still feel like you can see the body there, you can see where some parts flip and move around, and I think they've borrowed a few tricks from the Generations Deluxe, but I don't think it's actually like a mold mate or anything like that.
Well, I guess this time they would have known in advance that they were planning on 3 years of these guys, so they might have been able to sit down and go, okay, let's design these Tetrajet guys, but we know we're going to make new versions of the same guy next year. So let's see what we can do to make this mold reusable, or at least have some parts of it pop up again.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so. I like I said, I'm on the retool side. There are people who think I'm insane, but yeah. It has also been pointed out that the shoulder is a stupid place to attach the null ray. It should be attached to his forearm, but there you go.
Oh, they tried that in Dreamwave, and well, it was almost like Grey Fistgate all over again.
Yes. So
Well, I like it.
yeah, look, I really like it. I've avoided. I've got Siege Thundercracker. I've avoided Starscream because it just looks like a mess of grey plastic, and this looks a little bit less. This looks less like a mess, and you know what it is. Just comparing this to go in my head, it's because hollowed out and not facing you in the front. So he's a much more complete looking figure, and that appeals to me. Like I don't really appreciate the way that the wings and the Tetrajet backpack and stuff work on the current Siege one. But like you can mostly hide it in bot mode and you won't notice it. But the wings don't have any. The wings have some hollowed out parts, and it just looks a little bit ugly. So yeah, there you go. I said it. Look, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not entirely sure if this has been transformed correctly because there are massive gaps above his I don't know, chest jets, whatever. His air intakes. And look, let's be honest, Starscream does put out a lot of hot air, so he does need some massive air intakes. So yeah, but yeah, there's a couple of gaps there, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. But we'll see how the figure looks in hand.
Yeah, it all depends how it transforms too.
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's right. Right. We're going to move on to. I believe the next story is also about Earthrise. It's been a big week for Earthrise announcements. We're getting our first look at what these toys are going to look like when they hit store shelves, and we've gone from a massive figure inside a box to a tiny one. So this is our first look at Cliffjumper. Now, if you'd shown me this figure, a few weeks ago, I would have gone, "That's a lovely looking Legends figure." He's a deluxe figure. You can actually see the writing on the side of his box. Cliffjumper is classed as deluxe. Excuse me. I think he might come with some big guns to make up for his lack of size, but I don't know that the guns necessarily make up for that lack of size. But he's. I mean, look. Let's move on to looking at the actual figure. So, yep, Cliffjumper does come with a massive gun that sits on his back, and look at that figure. Like, if that is not a pre-tool for a Bumblebee figure, then like I will, I'll eat someone's hat.
It's pretty inevitable for a Cliffjumper that there's a Bumblebee. In fact, it's almost weird that Cliffjumper's out first this time.
Yeah, I wonder if they're sort of letting Bumblebee be the star of Cyberverse, and still trying to get rid of the Bumblebee movies from last year's movie. And sort of seeking not to sort of overflow the shelves with Bumblebee. Maybe they'll leave Bumblebee for Phase 3, or he might turn up later as well. We'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, Cliffjumper is a nice looking figure.
Yeah,
that's good. Good they've included the his big old bazooka that was in the show. Well,
I think it's funny that the bazooka sits in the 5mm peg on his arm rather than being held in his hand. But sure.
Yeah. Why? Surely it's the same size, isn't it?
It kind of is. Like looking at where it's plugged into the arm versus plugging into the hand. Like there's a few mils difference. So whatever. Look, it's not like Hasbro's stock photographer is not known for making mistakes. So let's not worry about it. But yeah, no, he looks pretty nice. I think it's a bit funny that. I think it's a bit funny that having seen some of the Masterpiece figures that have come out in the last few years of Cliffjumper, where there is no official one, it does look like they've taken a bit of a leaf out of the Ace Toys Tumblr book with the design of his feet. Like those are some big chunky feet.
Yeah.
Some of the leg and foot design doesn't look too different from the first Masterpiece Bumblebee either.
Yeah, that's right. And look, I think you can clearly see where they are borrowing Masterpiece engineering or some of the ideas. Because I mean, how old is Bumblebee? The Masterpiece Bumblebee now? He's like 4 or 5 years, right?
Something like
that. So figuring out how to actually take some of the engineering, simplify it down, make it into a smaller space. Like he does not look. You are right. He does not look unlike the Masterpiece B figure, just simplified down a little bit.
Yep.
And didn't you say some of these are as close as we're going to get to being masterpieces without being masterpieces? Because I'd believe that.
Yeah,
I think so, but then I also think, like, if I say that, then I'll probably regret it next line when something gets closer again. But we'll see.
Well,
Look, just go back a couple of stories. Look at that Optimus Prime. That is a fantastic looking Optimus Prime. And he's a regular figure. He's not a collector edition or anything. Like, we are getting some fantastic figures in our retail lines at the moment.
Certainly, that's. There's plenty of third-party, options, and this is now something everyone could just get themselves.
That's right. And look, a lot of the third parties are expensive, and you have to go to specialty stores to get them. So, the third-party market is not really as big as people think it is. Let's move on. So we've looked at Cliffjumper. We're going to have a look at Hoist now. Hoist has caused a little bit of controversy on a couple of fronts here. So he does turn into a pickup truck there. You can see him. You can see his robot mode and his alt mode. And when we see the stock photo, we can see that the green color on his body doesn't line up as well as it matches up in the stock photo. Now the photo on the back of the box, I think, is a 3D render. I don't think that's an actual photograph. This is the photograph. So we are hoping that the odd colored green parts are a little more even when we get the figure in hand.
I'm hoping the photographer or certain lighting is just reacting with that plastic in a certain way. It's not really like that in person.
We shall find out. Notably, also for Hoist, there's his robot mode. He's got a couple of wings behind his arms, but that's okay. Who doesn't? Of course, Hoist is very likely to be remolded into Trailbreaker at some point. That's practically like Bumblebee and Cliffjumper, and this picture does bring up something that.
See, I don't mind it.
I'm not fond of it, but this little smattering I can live with. It's when they've got enormous great swathes of it, and that especially when it's great swathes that look much worse in one mode than they do in another. So from this angle, it looks kind of like Christmas snow decoration.
I was thinking it looked a bit like snow. I call it transitional battle damage.
Yeah. I mean, this one just looks a bit scaped and scuffed, and that's believable that it happened.
Well, that's the whole. Well, I've always thought that.
Yeah, no. So someone did point out that it looks like Hoist has been halving the coke.
I mean, to be realistic, right. If they're going to be blending in,
Well, it depends whether they landed in the 80s or not. I just want to check: is everyone hearing me okay? Because I think I did have a couple of connection issues just then.
Just for a second there, yes.
Yeah, you disappeared for a bit, then reset, and you're fine now.
Okay, cool. All right, we've taken a bit of a sidetrack for that joke. We're going to go back to looking at figures now. We are now looking at Ironworks, who is unique in that he has a giant robot mode and he turns into a base as well. Now, it's been pointed out that where Hoist has some battle damage sort of sprinkled over, Ironworks has... Oh, we don't have his mode there. Okay. Ironworks seems to have a black wash over some parts of him to bring out, which does bring out some of the detail in him, but it also gives him a very different look to the rest of the bots. So, Ironworks is a character that has caused quite a few tongues to wag in the community since he's been announced. He was popular as a Micromaster base in the late 80s, and I think everyone's looking forward to seeing a modern day update to the figure.
The Blackwash is interesting because there's a number of siege figures like the Jets that probably could have used that to break up the...
Absolutely.
I think on this one, it gives him the air of being kind of industrial. So here I definitely like the blackwash.
I agree. It does, like, especially when he's in, like, we can bring up the photo of his base there. If I do that, you can sort of see there. And so, like, you sort of see on the yellow sort of industrial parts there, the blackwash really brings out a lot of detail.
Yeah, that makes him look like a good, strong, chunky machine and not just, a base in a toy line.
That is correct. And I think if we look up here a little bit as well, there's some extra things that you can connect and do here. Or is that actually, no, that's actually him. That's actually how you turn him into the base mode, I think, and then you add the cast. So I think the snap together connections look like they're maybe his chest and some of his feet.
No, you can get other guys that connect to him. There's like a guy that's the ramp.
Yes, well, so we'll get to him in a minute, but yeah, so the ramp, definitely does go into that, and so you can see the connect part going up there, and I don't know what I've done there, but that's gone really well.
I'd be interested in adding him onto like a Titan.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Just give me a minute here. I'm just gonna. I would say that Brad would edit this out, but he probably won't.
Well, for those that want to add blackwash to their figures, see your local hobby store and retailer and ask me for any info. I do it to my figures too.
Indeed. All right.
It's really not that.
So I'm gonna attempt to unzoom out of that image. There we go, and we're gonna continue on. All right. So continuing on, we have a couple of Micromasters. I got to be honest, the more Micromasters I get, the less interested in them I am. They are all over my desk at the moment. Is anyone particularly into the Bomb Shock and Growl?
I like Bomb Shock because I had him, her, whatever, for quite a while. So I might get that one just because I like the character.
Do they have a weapon mode at all?
Maybe. Sort of. I mean, they can go with Ironworks like everyone else. Ironworks just seems like, I don't know, the Transformers Village bicycle. Every Transformer goes with it.
It just works.
Yeah, why not? And there's their vehicle modes and their robot modes.
So much like their G1 vehicle modes.
If you've got your Citybot Titans set up, these guys floating around wouldn't be too bad.
That's true. I'm just going to pause this for a minute. I will be back. But do feel free to talk about Micromasters.
I'll probably add them to my Trypticon if he was in city mode.
Oh, yeah, that's one thing they're definitely good for.
Yeah. Where's he gone anyway? We got to see where he's gone. Maybe we should all go and see who comes back first.
Just hide off camera until he comes back.
Yep. See if I'll be back, and now I'm going to see how much awkward silence there is. Wasn't awkward enough.
Yeah. Oh, we could put everyone's pets behind the microphone.
See, this is all I can go back to do my customizing.
Oh, cool. What are you doing to that one?
I'm adding the chrome. I've done the. I'm doing weapon damage.
I like that.
And yeah, the metallics at the back versus the original one.
Okay, well, I can definitely see what you've done on that then, yeah.
I'm trying to make it movie accurate.
Yeah, I can dig it. Wow, you're
see
good.
The size difference too. I didn't think he's got to see it before.
Oh, right. I thought they were just closer and further from the camera.
No, it's the KO oversize.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
All right. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Not sure if there's. Oh, look, there's more Micromasters. At least one has like a hot black and red color scheme. Now,
that's probably the new name for Big Daddy. He'll get a few rights. Everyone loves him because he's called Big Daddy.
He's Daddy-O. Is there any other way to go, Daddy-O? I was going to ask this question, but clearly I think it must be because you had them in G1. How can you tell which one is Bomb Shock and which one is Growl?
I'd say Bomb Shock would relate to Shell Shock in the tanks. So I'm going to say Bomb Shock is a tank.
Yeah, and as someone who had Bomb Shock, they are the tank.
The tank, yeah. All right, so it is more of a reference to their G1 character.
Yeah, these ones, I don't know about Growl. My brother had the set that they were both from and gave me Bomb Shock. And
Okay.
I remember this brown SUV Humvee thing being the other one, but I don't recall ever looking up the name.
So Growl almost looks like a one of the vehicles from Mad Max, with the sort of the big grill at the front. You know,
that's probably why he held on to it. Now I think about it,
could be. So out of these guys, we've got what are we looking at? Trip Up and Daddy-O. So as you said, Daddy-O is the new name for Big Daddy. So he's the black muscle car, and the other one must be Trip Up. Yeah,
I don't recognize him, but as you've pointed out, there are many MicroMasters that he could be. For all I know, he was called Trip Up the first time round.
So honestly, as much as I love MicroMasters, I don't have a clue about the names of any of them other than like 2 or 3 from G1.
Well, same, because I'm more of a fiction person. The few that actually did stuff in stories, I remember who they are. But by the end of like MicroMasters Year 2, there were possibly literally a couple hundreds.
Yeah. It's actually funny. Like we can set up, and I suspect we might find that in actual fact they're like 20 or 30, because I think they're in 4-packs. I think they're probably like 5 or 6 or 8 of the 4-packs maybe, but I don't know that they're quite as prolific as BotBots.
No,
I think you're swaying towards BotBots now.
No, I've like fully veered into BotBot territory. But yeah, look, there's a few around me. Okay, now the last figure that we're looking at, he's what's it called? Sound Barrier, which is a very handy name. He is, I guess technically he's a battle master. So Sound Barrier, he's a blister packs battle master who, in a severe case of being possibly less useful than the most useless character that we've seen in the comics in terms of transformation, this guy transforms into a ramp instead of transforming into a baton. Thank you, Rung. Rung is also getting a toy in I guess, is Rung getting a toy in Earthrise or Siege? Like, we're very late in Siege for Rung to come out.
Siege. A few people who know good people on Twitter seem to have some, but I haven't seen them anywhere here.
Right. This is probably a good time to mention that in December I'm going to be hitting up Hong Kong for a weekend and maybe doing some toy shopping. So, you know, if we're lucky, we might find some Earthrise in Hong Kong. We'll see how we go.
Well, it's good to see accessibility.
Yes. This Transformer is very focused on accessibility, and I believe you may transform him by flipping the ramp part down from his back.
Oh, and I guess either you're meant to get lots of him or there'll be more of the same design because the front and back would clip together to extend.
Yeah, you could get like a human centipede of him.
I think you mean a Transformer centipede.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Yeah, and of course, it would be remiss of us not to mention his effects piece, which does look like a lovely crown. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Or a little bomb going off.
Well, that would go with Bomb Shock, right?
Yeah.
All right, and last but not least, we do have a look at Wheeljack. Wheeljack is a character that people have been quite excited to get in this line. People were a bit disappointed they didn't see a Cybertronian version of him, and here we are looking at a rather Earth race car version of him. He's built pretty low to the ground. He's pretty sleek. Is he related to Sideswipe?
No.
He looks. I don't know. It's just maybe it's just the low and thin sports car that's doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the Sideswipe's got the the bonnet for the chest, and this guy's got his roof. So it's a fairly solid difference.
True.
is it
Once you look at the,
It might be a faux roof.
ooh,
I think his chest is faux parts,
No.
maybe.
oh, I don't know. Like I think it is. Yeah. No, I think that's the real chest.
Okay, no, I'm wrong. But yeah, but moreover, it's Sideswipe and Red Alert. It's definitely their actual bonnet on their chest, and you can, and I can definitely see his feet at the bonnet here. So there might be some bits left over, but I think it's just a similar design rather than any actual engineering link.
Yeah, he's I guess look, he's a sleek looking fast car. So yeah. There has been much made of the fact that Hasbro's stock photographer appears to have mistransformed this figure again. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but I think it might be something to do with the arm.
The arm does look a bit weird.
The arm looks a bit weird, but I kind of feel like we're actually just looking at the inside of the arm there on the right arm, and we just can't see that on the left. Like, it does look right.
I mean, it is an odd pose too. So
I have been thinking that the photographer might have just not been showing us some of these at the best angle too. Like that star screen.
There's nothing new there.
Yeah, but that star screen full of gaps, I could see that, yeah, there are gaps, but there's also some you wouldn't see nearly as much if they'd moved a few degrees to one side.
Yeah, that's true. It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what happens. That like comments like these never make it back to Hasbro, and they never actually update their photography posing or anything. But yeah, so yeah, there's a good look at the first run, I think, of Earth, the follow-up to Siege, which is Earthrise, coming up next year. Now, we've looked at the fact that battle damage is still a thing. We've also been hit by a series of rumors this week. I say rumors, but also there's rumors and leaks and facts. Now, according to the news reports, which no one can really confirm or deny because no one looked at it, or at least no one in the Western Hemisphere looked at it. Apparently, Hasbro's China store on, I'm not sure if it was Taobao or AliExpress, accidentally listed a bunch of things that are coming in 2020, which they perhaps shouldn't have done, but we'll see how we go. Now, what we are looking at is apparently the Chinese listings for a deluxe Quintesson, which they've used the Planet Quintesson, which may probably not be correct because I doubt we're getting a deluxe planet. That's Quintessa. Now that is a character name that we've not heard since the last night, and probably hoping never to hear again. But we'll see how that goes. So we're getting a deluxe Quintessa. We're getting a Quintesson of some kind. Now, looking at the pricing for this one, the price for Quintessa was 149 yuan. This is 220. It's a sale price there, but this looks like it could be a Voyager figure. Now, if it's actually based on the classic Quintessons, you may need to get 5 of these to display all the faces properly. We'll see how we go. But yeah, obviously, like, we're looking at comic art. We're not actually looking at what the figure will necessarily look like. We do know that we are getting a Titan class Scorponok, and we know this simply by process of elimination because a few years ago when we had the fan vote, who won? It was Triptychon that won the fan vote. Then the losers of the fan vote were Omega Supreme and Scorponok. Well, Omega Supreme is just turning up now. So who do you think's coming next year? It's going to be Scorpy. We did hear that Scorponok's head detail is going to be the design based on the Transformers Rebirth cartoon, which is extremely obscure, but more props to Hasbro for doing it.
I think, if what I've heard is right, that he's going to be a Cerebro-style double headmaster, and like one of them will be based on the Rebirth one, and one of them will be based on the Headmasters one. But I'm not sure whether.
Right. Okay.
I'm not sure. Well, A, I don't know that for sure, and B, I don't know whether it's the big or the little one's going to be based which on which.
It's either big Scorpio or little Scorpio, but yeah, no, I think you're right. It's likely to be a double headmaster based on what they did with Fort Max.
Well, we saw that sculpt a few conventions ago. That was basically saying, "Look, this is Scorponok's head and his head."
I think you're right. I can't recall what it looked like at the time, but yes, it does sound familiar. So yeah. I have a confession to make. I'm sitting in a room that's pretty much chock full of Transformers. I think I'm out of the Titan game. I didn't get Predaking. I'm not really interested in Omega Supreme. I don't know if I'm going to get Scorponok.
I'm more eager for Scorponok than I was for Omega Supreme.
Yeah.
But for most of them, it's a case of these guys are just climbing in price and how much space they take up. So it becomes sort of a practical thing of, yes, I'd like that, but
I think it's interesting. Transformers are making a reach figures, and it's beyond the size of Masterpiece, right? We've had one Titan scale figure, and historically, I refuse to count Devastator as a Titan, but even Hasbro now says that yes, he was a Titan scale. So is Predaking, and so we're getting one of them a year. We're getting two of them a year now, and that the rumor that we're going to get Skylinks, which we'll talk about in a minute. And in fact, we can talk about him now. There's rumor that we're going to get a Commander class Skylinks next year. We have Commander class Jetfire this year. They are markedly larger than other figures in the line, and the way that the market is shifting in terms of toys is that kids don't necessarily want a lot of toys, and so I think it's interesting to see Transformers move into that space where they actually are reaching into that segment of the market and just going, yeah, you know what, if you want a big toy, here you go, save up a little bit for it, and this might be the only toy that you buy for the line, but it's going to be a cool one. Jetfire definitely fits that cool mold. There's a lot of fans of Skylinks. I think he definitely also fits in the cool mold as well.
Yeah, and judging by the price there, they're anticipating him being pretty large.
Well, so Commander class figure, yeah. What was that, Alan? Sorry?
I would like a large one.
A large Skylink? I mean, look, the original Skylinks was pretty large. I don't really know about the Combiner Wars one. I feel like they're redoing a lot of figures that we saw in Combiner Wars. That's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
The Combiner Wars one was nice if you like Skylinks and not fussed about the size, but sort of you couldn't say this is the guy or the other guys who are the same size traveling.
Yeah, no, that's true. I've always had a bit of trouble rationalizing the fact that Transformers would travel inside another Transformer that then transforms into the same size robot as them. So I was like, it's scale. It's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, scaly whaley. All right, so other figures that we've seen in the listing there. So we've.
I'll be back in a minute, guys. Can you give me 1 second?
Okay. Yeah, can do.
All right.
Right, so we were talking, Titan Scorponok and Commander class Skylinks. We are also talking a couple of movie masterpieces here as well, which I'm not so versed on the movie figures, but I'm pretty sure that that's a Ratchet that I'm looking at. There's slight green there. So movie masterpiece Ratchet, another movie masterpiece Starscream that I don't think it's the first time we've seen a movie masterpiece figure, but it would be in this generation because I think back in the early days of the movie masterpiece line before it rested for a while, we did get Starscream there. And we're back to the beginning there. Now, if this list really did leak off Hasbro China, off Hasbro's official Chinese AliExpress or Taobao store, I can't remember which one it was meant to be, if it actually did leak off that, I would place some legitimacy in there. We can't really tell because apparently the listings got taken down, but they did get screenshotted according to this, but screenshots can be doctored. We'll see how we go. The more interesting part of this is that if you see a list that's going around that is a black with a bunch of figures on it, that's based on this list, but then they've added a bunch of things that are either completely unjustified or they're just speculation. And so, like the blacklist that was posted to Instagram, it was posted by an account that notably does fakes, and that lists things like Sunstreaker, which we haven't actually seen anything of Sunstreaker in Earthrise, but it also lists a bunch of things that are kind of educated guesses. Like we know that Runamuck won the fan vote, so we know that there's going to be a Runamuck. In fact, I think we saw some pictures of him a few weeks ago, and it stands to reason that you're going to get a runabout, but there's also rumors going around that he's going to be a Generation Select figure. Nobody's confirmed that yet, but this leak lists it as a Generation Select figure, and so like that is a little bit unconfirmed. And there's a bunch of things in the Instagram version of this leak that are really wild stabs in the dark, and you shouldn't really place too much stock in it. Just remember that if there's some news around and you're not sure, and I think you'll find that most of them regard that the Instagram version of this leak with some suspicion. Now let's move on a little bit. I wanted to bring up now. I was asking in the pre-show. I feel like we're uniquely positioned to appreciate this. There is a Transformers. There's a new Transformers series that I actually didn't know. This has got really know how it goes, but it is Transformers Neza. Or Neza or Nesha. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. I do think it might be Nesha because looking at the file name on this image, it is spelled Nesha, but officially it is Nezha. Now, this is a Transformers crossover series, which is actually, I think this is the first time we've actually seen an animated or Transformers fiction that's officially from Hasbro that's a crossover. And this is a crossover with a story that a lot of us in Australia are very familiar with because we grew up watching it in the 80s on the ABC, which is the story of the Monkey King, or Journey to the West, or as we might know it better, Monkey. Just Monkey Man. So what I think we're looking at here in this 3-pack of figures, they're very small and they're very cheap figures, but we pretty much are looking at Monkey, Sandy, and Pigsy here, I think.
They look about
figures.
They look about legend scale.
Yeah, I think they do look about legend scale. They look like they've got ball joints on their arms, and sort of molded position hands. We've had some really.
Sorry about that.
We've had some really. Thanks. We've really gotten MicroMasters in the last year or so in Siege, and so you got to wonder what's happened to all the maybe they've got an Escher line. So what we do know about this, and I found this out tonight when this photo leaked. What we do know about this is that this is actually going to be a Chinese Transformers series. It's going to be a large number of 11-minute episodes, and I'm pretty sure that's animated as well. So, like, I mean, 11-minute animated episodes. So it's actually going to be quite a body of work there for the series. Apparently, it's going to air in prime time, and apparently, it's been that well received by I wouldn't critics, but it's been well enough received by people who've seen it at Hasbro and TV networks that they are thinking of actually taking it out worldwide, and they're also thinking of shipping the toys globally as well. So yeah, that's a pretty. I think that's pretty interesting. If we go back one image here, we can see the box there. So the box seems to owe quite a bit to almost the sort of the Cyberverse design, I think, and it's got the big top flap to sort of show the difference in the branding. But so that's going to be coming out sometime soon. The original report of this, I tracked back. The original report of this series coming into existence was from earlier this year, and they said that they were hoping to debut it late 2019. If the toys are getting ready now, then I'd say the series is probably going to come to us early in 2020. And like, it does have the artwork on the packaging does have a bit of a Cyberverse look to it, but I'm not sure.
I was definitely thinking.
Yeah. I'm not sure whether or not it's actually being animated by Boulder Media, or the guys who do Cyberverse, or if it's just if it's been animated somewhere in China. So yeah, gonna be an interesting thing to look at.
Yeah, see what happens with those.
Yeah, I'm very excited by it as a fan of the franchise.
Yeah,
both franchises.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like I said, I think we're in a unique position to appreciate this. I'm not sure that Western audiences will all sort of appreciate the crossover, but I think those of us who grew up watching Monkey Magic will definitely like it.
Yeah, I mean, there's been various Japanese sort of only sort of series and offshoots that only sort of collectors have sort of tracked down. So this is sort of one of those things.
I guess so, and I think it speaks a lot to the growing significance of the Chinese market that China gets its own Transformers things. They've had their own game for a little while. So Forged to Fight was, I'm pretty sure Forged to Fight is still a China-only game. So like the rest of us get Earth Wars, and yeah, they're getting their own Transformers series and Transformers toys now as well. So yeah, looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. That is the end of the news segment, and it is time to briefly talk new acquisitions before we go and finish off the show, because we are running just on the hour's timeline now. I just realised I knocked out the news screen, but I'm going to need to bring it back shortly. Let's go for new acquisitions. Daria, do you have any new acquisitions to talk about?
Yes. A few weeks ago now, since my last appearance on the show, I have got Siege Impactor, but of more note, and here's a representative I'm showing for the visual version. I have the Unite Warriors Constructicons, and I am very impressed with them. They're much bigger and chunkier than I thought, but that is not a bad thing.
So look, you've just held up a Constructicon to the camera, and he's enormous. And look, it's been a while since I've actually looked at them. Like, Devastator is sitting up on my shelf up there, but it's been a while since I've actually looked at the original official single bots for these. And yeah, no, it's really impressive. It's really nice. Yeah, really happy with that.
I'll send a photo to the chat in a bit, which is something I took to sort of show the scale. But yeah, especially because we're kind of used to the Constructicons being small, like they were in G1. They were pretty small guys, but here they're taller than most deluxes, and they've got
they are Voyager-sized figures.
Yeah, and they've got the body mass to go with them.
Yeah.
And I don't think many people realize the Unite Warriors version had some extra articulation. And
oh no, everyone realizes that. Like, it was the source of much consternation at the time.
And a few different colors and things too. Yeah.
Yeah. This is back when Takara used to actually release their own paint jobs and make some tweaks to the molds for themselves. So their Constructicons have elbows where the Hasbro ones do not, and they have individual weapons. Which, if you are looking for Combiner Wars Devastator and you find a Unite Warrior one, you should probably take it.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's part of what I was holding out for so long, that I was hoping to get a Unite Warriors one rather than a Combiner Wars one, because I wanted the elbows and the switchable head and the guns.
I fell victim to the shiny thing syndrome, and I went for the STCC Hasbro release because it's got that giant shiny chest piece on it. I couldn't be happier.
Oh, I have seen pictures of that. I don't blame you.
All right, Alan, how are you doing with acquisitions over there?
I'm doing good. I got a few things this week. As I said, I got the Siege. I got a whole box of it, actually, of the Siege 2
box here.
War for Cybertron booster packs, and you actually get the Trypticon card. It comes in the box. It's got its own basically starter set. And in terms of figure wise, it's the
you need to tell people, not just show it.
It's the God of War Apex. It's a KO oversized version of the Bumblebee. movie Prime, and I've started doing a custom job on it because I'm leaving my regular scale one and working on this one.
Let's before we start talking about the customizations, if you just sort of so you are on the main focus on the camera. If you just hold them up there now, this version is shinier than the Studio Series 38, of which it's the oversized KO. So shinier paint job on there.
It's got a few little technical things, die cast parts, and the customization. I'm already starting to do sort of the detail work and extra chrome, basically just trying to make it movie accurate in the places they couldn't do in the actual official toy. So he does have a replaceable hands, articulated hands, and light up batteries for eyes actually. And I think it's just an extra prime for my collection, but I can do them up.
So when we were talking about it before the show, you said it was about $100.
Yeah, $100 or so. Yeah, I think for what people pay, people pay $100 for something that it's bigger than a masterpiece. So
how heavy is he?
Yeah, it's pretty weighty. I'd say feels good. Good amount of weight there. Yeah, all these pieces are solid. So
are we looking at ratchets in the legs as well? Yeah. You usually some good ratchet sounds on the oversized KOs, especially with the die cast in there as well. And so you're detailing that using some. I think what was it you said earlier? It was the
liquid chrome.
Liquid chrome. Okay.
People actually, you can actually repair your G1 bots with liquid chrome for the old weapons. It does wonders. You wouldn't believe it.
It's looking pretty good.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good. Would love to see some sort of before and after shots when you finish with the detailing and see what difference you've made to the figure.
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah,
but I'm always tweaking my bots. I'm working on Triptychon outside, and I've got Prime I'm working on inside. So because I've sort of done his weapon up with a bit of the battle damage to make him like a.
See that kind of battle damage. I appreciate much more than just sort of printing a shiny silver color onto the figures, which is what Hasbro does. Like this looks much more actual. It looks much more like actual battle damage as opposed to just printed mess. Yeah,
you got to. It's not hard to do. I mean, what they did, I guess they had to mass produce it, but it's something people can do off their own bat. Really, give them a choice. That's like what they could have done with the Earthrise. Leave it and give people a chance to do it up and match the siege stuff if they wanted. But they're trying, I guess. But that's my acquisitions anyway. Playing the cards and playing with the new Prime.
All right. I don't have that many acquisitions to discuss this week, but I am going to just flip over to some photos of them. Oh, actually, I wanted to talk about that too, but I won't. So yeah, I had got some new pins this week. Over the years, I have turned into a bit of a pin collector, and there's been a great outpouring of creativity. So
You're pulling the pin.
Yeah, well, yeah, fair enough. There's a great number of people online who are creating artwork and mementos and prints and pins based on the characters and the work and More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light. And Alan, you're gonna have to put that toy down. All right. So I was happy to get these. Because you just had a giant Optimus Prime in your hand, and we were talking about it's ratchets. So these pins came from an artist who goes by the name of Five Boos. online, and so there's a Matrix. There is a "Don't Forget Me" pin, which I'm not gonna spoil who that's a reference to, although it's kind of obvious from looking at it. And yeah, I know you do. And there's Team Whirl, because Whirl is a godless, soulless killing machine, and who wouldn't want to be on Whirl's team? Now, these are not actually new pins, but they are pins that I missed acquiring over time. So yeah. I do got to ask, is that a Constructicon I can hear? It's not an Optimus Prime?
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. All right. Yeah, cool. So yeah, all right, cool. Just got to be a little bit quiet when we're on when the mic's on. Like I said, these pins are not actually new, but they are pins that I missed acquiring along the way. And so I looked at Five Boo's Big Cartel site this week, which we will put a link in the show notes to that website. There's a lot of really, really nice pins and merchandise on there. There's a lot of really, really nice Transformers pins that are being made by independent artists around the place. And like, if you want to have a look at some stuff that's just really impressive, and some of them are just fantastic pieces of work. I've posted a couple of pictures of my pin boards over the last few months as I've sort of been adding Transformers pins to them, and I'm continuing to acquire new pins and add them all the time. So maybe in another couple of months' time I'll post another update when I've acquired some more. So let's see how we go. All right. Last bit of actually, so since we are talking about pins, we'll just go back to this. This is a fantastic picture of the MP13B reissue, or was it 13 or just 13? I think it's just MP13. He's just photographed in the dark. So there must be Soundwave. The Takara reissue is out this week or this month, and something that I've noticed a trend with Takara releases that have been coming out with collectibles, as they often do from Hasbro Asia. They don't do coins anymore. They do pins. This is really annoying for me because I don't want to buy the figures again, but I do want to acquire the pins. So I've had to start buying the pins from people who want to get rid of them on eBay. Yeah. So I've purchased an MP44 pin because I got it direct from Japan, so it didn't come with a pin. Same thing for MP18 Plus. He came with a pin. I've just acquired that one off the eBays. There is a Soundwave pin as well. They also look similar. Like, they look like a bit of a Matrix with the character's face on it, but that's great. I'm really happy with that. And there will probably be more for there'll probably be more when they bring out Black Arachnia and Bumblebee in the next couple of months as well. So the next couple of months are going to be really annoying for acquiring official pins for me.
Yeah, you're going to try and get my ones too, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, no, that's probably not going to happen. Alan does have. Alan has decided to taunt me by bringing out some classic G1 pins that he acquired at a collector's museum in Japan. Hold them up to the camera. I'm not going to lie, I actually do want these pins, but so he's got two sets of them as well. Like you know, he's just taunting me.
It's the Autobots and the Decepticons, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't quite see enough detail for that, but yeah. So
you can pick them up in Japan randomly years ago. So sorry, I don't really know.
Yeah, no, that's well, I don't expect you to. It's all right. I mean, I didn't even know they existed until this week. So yeah.
If I ever go back there, I will get them for you, I promise.
At some point, I should probably go to Japan, I think is the operative saying here. All right. It is time to sort of run headlong into the end of the show. Before we go, a little bit of club business, because we are a production of Transformers Collectors Club Australia. The traditional Christmas donation drive is now live. A $5 donation to the club, which we put towards attending conventions and club events like meetups and things like that. A $5 donation puts you into the draw to win a mint in sealed box masterpiece Black Arachnia, a Titan's Return Predaking, or was he apparently a Titan Predaking, a mint in box G1 Thrust, which I'm told is actually quite sought after a lot of the time, a Fans Toys Sea Spray, Toys R Us exclusive Sunstorm Masterpiece and Acid Storm Masterpiece figures, a Power of the Primes Voyager Blitzwing, and a Power of the Primes Voyager Octane. I think they might actually be Titan's Return, not Power. That's what it says in the run sheet. So I've read it out. Look, if you appreciate the club and you appreciate what we do and you appreciate us spending our time on Friday nights talking about Transformers for your listening pleasure, please do dig at least $5 deep into the pocket. It's not really, it doesn't need to be a great big donation, but just $5 gets you a ticket in the draw, and there are some fantastic prizes on offer. And that is it. Thank you for listening, everyone. And there are a few people watching along live, and that's cool. Thank you. We didn't expect that. It's a Friday night. Thank you for checking us out. If you'd like to find out more about these stories, you will find links to them all and more in the show notes. They are posted to the Transformers Weekly Facebook page and the Podbean site. You can get in touch with us by hitting us up on the Transformers Collectors Club Australia group on Facebook. And if you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe to the podcast, because we like having subscribers and we like knowing that people will listen to us drivel on about these things every week. We are a production of Transformers Collectors Club Australia, a registered club in Victoria run by volunteers who donate their time and money to make the club better for everyone. Our goal is to connect Transformers fans around the country. We do it by engaging the collecting community and talking about Transformers on a podcast at 10:40 p.m. on a Friday night. Yeah, no, it's 10:40 p.m. for everyone this week, and we're all in the same time zone. You can find more information about the club, including affordable yearly membership options to show your support, starting at just $5 a year at transformerscca.com. That is it from us, and we'll be back with more Transformers news maybe next week. We keep saying next week, and then we don't do it. So, like, at least sometime in the next couple of weeks, we'll be back.
See everyone.
Actually, it's quite appropriate for us to do that at the moment. We'll be back.
We will.
I'm not gonna spoil Terminator. That's all right. We'll be back.
Come with me if you want to buy collectibles.
Mm-hmm.